Hello, Tony.
Hello.
Tony is the author of Shaman's Wisdom, and I have the pleasure to have here in London today from Germany. Tony, can you tell us what is a shaman?
Well, my opinion of what a shaman is perhaps is a little bit different from the anthropological point of view. For me, a shaman is a healer, and a healer that has understood their own pain and their own suffering, their own wounds, and understood how to transform them to something that's beneficial not just for themselves but for other people, community, nature and surroundings. So basically a shaman is someone who's a wounded healer.
And this is part of our inner process to heal ourselves.
I believe that we're all joyous by nature, we're all happy and we're all free. But somehow we get lost as we grow up and meet different experiences that get presented in life. And some of those experiences change our joy to be less joyous and perhaps more confused about various things in life. And some people go deeply into that suffering or confusion to a point where they are forced to look at the essence of themselves. And that to me is what a shaman does, rather than just look at the superficial, really go deeply in to whatever is causing the imbalance for themselves or for other people to somehow create that balance that we have deep inside, that we're born with deep inside.
So you met many different shamans from different countries, I guess, that have different traditions, different way of healing.
Yes, yes.
What did you learn from them? Because your book is called the Shaman's Wisdom.
Yes, yes. Well, I learned many things. Basically wisdom.
Yeah.
Wisdom of how to connect to information that we all have inside ourselves. And this information, I believe that is beyond just intellectual information. So the book I've written is not so much a guidebook to tell you this is what you need to do or this is how you do whatever, but rather an introduction of how to discover these things for yourself. And this is what I found to be the case with all the people that I met in South America and Polynesia, where I worked also, that the people had different ways of coming back to themselves, back to the essence, back to the heart, and connecting to the joy and happiness that the heart experiences when it feels in tune with all that's around.
And regarding food, because there's some the shamans, or it's mainly vegetarians that you've encountered. You're yourself vegetarian?
Well, no, the shamans not exactly. Not the shamans. Some of them were nomadic, so actually they were semi-vegetarian, meaning that sometimes they did eat fish or animals, but mostly the shamans actually don't eat meat like in the Western world, where it's just a commodity in a supermarket. There is a much
run by fear and animals being
exactly, or you need to eat meat because that's the only healthy thing. Really, what they listened to was the essence of the environment that they lived in. So in Polynesia, fish was very important. In the Amazon forest, because there is so much fruits and vegetables and herbs, that becomes very much the primary diet for most people. Meat is not seen as a very healthy thing in huge quantities, like people like in Australia or Argentina, where they eat steak for breakfast.
Too much, yeah, and too much acidity in it.
Too much acidity, and also it's believed when you do healing on yourself or other people that your body needs to be very light and very connected to the plants. So this is why a vegetarian diet during times of ceremony or initiation or healing is the primary thing that people follow.
Interesting.
As a shaman. Yes, yes.
And then there is the sound, there's the songs, there is so much more to that you've learned from them.
Yes. For me, what is interesting is that people forget to use the joy of singing as part of everyday life, as part of meditation, as part of spirituality. When I say singing, I'm not really talking in the sense of pop music or opera, rather singing um, in a simple way, like humming or just chanting a simple
Mm.
sound. And this is so natural. Mothers do this with their children. When the child is unhappy, they may just sing them to a more relaxed state. And this is what native people do very much. And I find this to be a very nice way to include more than just the mind, to include the body, because actually when you chant, the breath and the body becomes part of the chanting or the song. And this is very
So
common.
there's a rhythm
There
to
is a
it, and you
rhythm,
start
a
to
movement, exactly.
your mind, you transcend.
You transcend just simply thinking that reality can only be experienced through the mind, which the mind is important for me, but it's limited to being just what it is, and there are more parts to ourselves that can experience wisdom.
So what is reality then?
Reality is difficult to explain. For me, reality is not what we think, and most people see reality in a way that is handed down to them. So depending on their culture or their socialization or their experience in family, their pictures in their minds tend to limit reality to that experience that they've had and that they believe is what they need to pursue. And what I found reality to be, to include much more, and actually sometimes so much that it is a little bit confusing to look at all the immensity of the information that comes when you move beyond saying, well, this is the world and this is how I see it, and I don't believe that there is anything else more than that. I don't really explain reality because I believe that people understand reality when they let go of their limitations and their socialization. So that is my work, to say, okay, why do you believe that you're a victim? And why don't you move out of that space and see if you move out of that space that maybe there is more to yourself than that limited perception of being a victim. And that then shows people more directly the experience of reality, rather than saying reality is a philosophical truth and this is what reality is. So I don't really speak so much about the philosophical side of things. I work more with people directly so that they see the truth for themselves.
So do you think we have to go in the forest to find ourselves, or can we in big cities like London, connect and found our spirituality, found grounding?
For sure. A lot of people now, it's become very popular to go to the Amazon forest. It's like a spiritual pilgrimage for many people. And it's nice, but I don't actually believe it to be very beneficial for most people, because most people just go there with the idea of something. And really, it's like living in a country for a few years. You see something totally different than just going there for 2 or 3 weeks. And I don't believe that going for a week or 2 weeks or even a few months to visit the rainforest will show you much more than doing work here in London. Spending those 2 or 3 weeks actually taking the time to work on yourself here in London, I find it more beneficial for most people. Some people need to perhaps leave their environment to see something different.
Fair, yeah.
But I don't believe it has to be the Amazon forest or India or anywhere specific. I just believe that wherever you are, it's your intention and your commitment to change that matters more than where you go or what you do. So, do you have to leave London? I think London is an amazing place. It's vibrant and it's full of different people and different realities. It's so cosmopolitan. So I think you can find much more than perhaps traveling, especially today.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay.